Rob Penney. What a roll call this man has had. Joined Canterbury 2006. And when he was the NPC coach, Scott Robertson Razor was his assistant. And the world turned. And all of a sudden Razor's the All Black coach. And Rob Penney's about to be the Crusaders coach. He's also coached Munster, got them to a Euro semi-final, the Japan Shining Arcs. He's currently coached the under-20s in Japan. Also an unsuccessful stint with the Waratahs for a couple of years. He was sacked halfway through that 2021 season. We've got lots of questions to ask. Thank you so much for joining us, Rob. 119, welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you very much, Martin. It's a pleasure to be here.
How much does it mean to you, did it mean to you getting that word that you are the new Crusaders coach?
Well, I guess it means a lot. I've been on a big escapade around the globe, really, and to be able to come back at this stage of my career and contribute to a great organisation with a fantastic legacy, as everybody knows, is very humbling and a wonderful, I guess, way to be at this stage of my career, to be able to do this. Yeah, it's a very, very outstanding, wonderful.
When you say that the journey that you've been on with the ups and downs and things, did you think that really the road would lead you to this?
No, not really. I thought that ship had sailed, but this industry's like all coaches. You just never really know where the next turn's going to be. It's not an explicit set of goals and try to achieve those. It's more, there's so many variables and a lot of them are out of your control. And you just do what you do. You love doing what you do, and you want to see the players, achieving their goals. And if that's your motivation, then you try to do your best in that area, and other people judge you on that. And it's ended up with me being given an opportunity back home, which is wonderful.
So when you threw your head in the ring, obviously you wanted it, but did you honestly believe that you'd get it?
Not really, but in saying that, I haven't really left the organisation. People within the organisation and my love of red and black we've kept in contact over the years. And there's been lots and lots of conversations along the way, and some of them have been, about rugby stuff in general, and some of them have been about coaching stuff in general, and some of them have been a bit more specific. And, I guess as the pointy end of Razor's great career there came to fruition, it was the conversations gradually became a bit more specific. And, very fortunate to be heading home there and doing the job.
Is it your dream job right now?
I guess it is. Although, yes, it would be. I was going to try to, I guess, extrapolate that out a bit, but in short, yes.
I mean, I'm only asking you that because, Scott goes on, Razor goes on to coach the All Blacks and things. Have you ever thought about higher honours, or is this as high as you've ever thought that you'd get?
As I alluded to before, we all have aspirations to try to, like us, when you're a player, you want to play to the highest level you possibly can. And as a competitive person and as a competitive coach, I want to coach to the highest level I possibly can. I want to be successful and achieve. And a lot of that, as I said, centres around what the players' desires are and helping them achieve theirs. You live your life vicariously through them because you can't do it anymore, but you just love the joy that players have when they succeed, and you feed off that yourself. So the ability to be put into this position is great, and who knows where to next. But I'm highly satisfied with my years as a coach, and highly satisfied to be heading back there and contributing.
Rob Penney is with us, new Crusaders coach. When do you take over exactly?
I'll be back on the grass. I'm away in South Africa with the Japan under-20s for starting next week for a month, and I'm back on the grass. Hopefully the 1st of August is the sort of day which I'm scheduled to be down there. So, can't come soon enough.
In terms of the assistants and everyone else, how important to you to keep some continuity going with what Razor's established?
Well, I think it's one of the strengths, and it's not rocket science, but it's one of the strengths that Colin Maidbridge of more latterly, but Angus Gardner's provided, his management skills in that GM role has provided real continuity. The strategic planning is without peer, and that continuity, as you're alluding, is crucially important and has been for successive coaches that have gone into the organisation. The calibre of the people that they've got there under Razor at the moment, extremely high and have great futures in the game. And part of my role is to to support and I guess promote them as best I can, and that'll be a great pleasure to do that.
Rob, how important also is it to you, just the values of this organisation, what they stand for, and that's off the park as much? I mean, it's a no dickheads policy. You've got to be committed to the place, to the city, to the province, to the people that are there. All of those things. I mean, you're a Cantab man that played over 100 games for the Red and Black, and that to me, and talking to Colin about this as well, is just absolutely essential to the ongoing success of the franchise, isn't it? It's stuff that people might say, oh, it's wishy-washy, it doesn't actually count, but it bloody does, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, it's a special place. People that come there in a short space of time can buy into everything that is special about the place. And I think it's something about Christchurch. It's gone through its own traumatic events in the last 12 or so years and come out the other side. And look, it's going to be an amazing city in the next 3 or 4 years when the stadium's completed and the swimming pool, gets completed and the whole central city gets established. So there's a lot to be proud of down there. And I can remember when we were doing some recruitment back in the day, we brought some young players from outside of Canterbury, and they come in as 18, 19-year-olds, and within 18 months to 2 years, they're red and black, and they're committed because they just feel the love and the passion in the place, and good people doing good work, and across the spectrum at club level right the way through. And if you understand that, you don't have to be Cantabrian to understand that, and there's going to be some really good people progressing through the organisation over the next 2 or 3 years that may not necessarily be born and bred there, but they understand it and get it, and they'll contribute as meaningfully as someone that was born and bred there. So I hear what you're saying. I guess for me, my passion and love for the place goes without saying, because it's, I guess, I've had a long time there, and I hopefully I understand it, and it's in my DNA. But there are other people that come from the outside that can quickly buy in and be, as long as and they are really good people, and they can contribute as meaningfully as as someone that's been there their whole life. So I get what you're saying, but I think there is ways in which people can contribute that don't necessarily have to be born and bred there, and be it can establish themselves and contribute greatly to the future of the organisation going forward.
Rob Penney with us. Talk about the ups and downs. You were coaching the Waratahs a couple of years back. You were sacked halfway through the 2021 season. What did it teach you that year? What did you learn from that makes you better going into this job?
Few things. Don't always take things at face value. And you can't, like as a coach, people give you guarantees and assurances, and then if you get let down, what do you do? I didn't want to ever walk away. I loved my time there, apart from about 10% of it, which was frustrating and it hurt. But the reality is, the learnings from that, the young men that are there trying to re-establish the Waratahs are just as passionate about the Waratahs as other players that I've coached. There's some really good staff members trying to rectify what was a horrific problem. And there's a good CEO there now who is trying to do his best to get a massive, state in Australia with great playing talent within it aligned and in a state where they can be more successful. So, look, I guess the learnings is change takes time, and people need to be patient. And in professional sport, unfortunately, those two things are often poles apart: patience and time.
You know, I look at the roll call: Robbie Deans, Daryl Gibson, Dave Rennie, yourself, all great coaches, all great rugby men. Is it a hell of a lot tougher being a Kiwi trying to do this in Aussie than what people think?
I think culturally there is a lot of difference, and I think one of the big pressures in the rugby environment anyway, and I'll only talk from that, is what I found was there's a lot of, fantastic past players that have gone into the business world, have strong opinions and views on the game, don't contribute themselves in any way on the grass from a coaching or player development perspective, but are intelligent and articulate. And if things are a struggle, they're highly likely to, voice an opinion, and it may or may not have merit. And when you've got those very influential people in the back rooms, they can have an impact, either positive or negative, I suspect. And I think all the Kiwis that go over there have faced issues from that perspective. And I also think that there's been a slight agenda since actually before I arrived, but to move to having more Australian coaches involved in Australian rugby. And look, that's fair enough. They've got to look after their own. And for a while there was a few Kiwis over there, and I think they've gradually weaned those out and pushed on with their own, and they'll live and die by that.
Rob Penney with us, new Crusaders coach. How do you do better, any better than the last guy who's won 150 titles in a row? Is that intimidating for you, mate, at all?
Yeah. How good.
Yeah.
So rat for the man. Like, he's just such a wonderful character of the game, and he's got more to do. How do you get better than that? Well, you don't try, do you? You just, if we can have consistency and we can emulate, then that'll be pretty special. There's a couple of transitioning people that have been highly influential, and this is no disrespect to anybody. In fact, it's probably the other way, I hope, with Sammy and Richie moving on, and their influence in that group, it just can't be understated. And there's some fantastic young men ready and wanting to have an opportunity to establish themselves in those two critical leadership positions. And that may take a little bit of time to get that much leadership leaving in one go in two crucial positions, as you I guess the godfather of the Crusaders and Sam Whitelock has he's been for the last 12 or so years, and the pivot in probably the best pivot in the world in Richie Mo'unga. So, you don't replace those overnight. But in saying that, they've done a great job. As I said, succession planning there has been tremendous, and the young men ready to take over. And some of them have, spent a bit of time in the saddle, which is good. So yeah, going back to your original question, there'll be a expectation of continuation of success, and that's great because that drives us all to try to get better. And if we have a Japanese philosophy, which is Kaizen, which is consistent improvement, then hopefully the results will come on the back of that. There's no guarantees, of course, because it's such a tough industry, and everyone wants to win. But if we can be better day by day, then, as you say, whether results come on the back of that as a byproduct of that, that's the hope, and that'll be what we're working towards. But there's no guarantees.
Couple of quick questions. We'll let you go, mate. I thank you so much for your time. Have you been watching this year? The standard of the comp, the subpart to that question is who's going to win it?
The subtle alterations that they made in the laws for the game around the halfback not being able to come around opened up some really good attacking opportunities off scrum, and I think that's something hopefully that World Rugby will look at going forward. So there's been some attack in there that has been very stimulating. what unlike any other team, the Crusaders have an ability to be proactive and reactive. And what I mean by that is they can, on a spur of the moment, they can react to the defensive frailties and attack them, and they can also bully a team into submission. And you've got to have a team that can do that to win competitions. Now, it doesn't mean on any given day the Blues can't rip a team apart, with their talent as well. But consistency wise, and teams doing it at the business end of the comp, Crusaders have, shown this year that they do have the ability to suffocate teams, and they do have the ability to rip teams when the frailties in the defence are identified. Obviously the semi-final this weekend's going to be some more evidence of that, I suggest. Chiefs have been, you would say, looking from an independent perspective, I guess, or observer, the best team on their day. They too have the ability to do both. So, like Chiefs Crusaders in a final, which is what everyone's probably thinking will happen, and I'd be one of those. Big days require your big boys to step up, and that's what it'll come down to. Small margins, there'll be nothing in it. And I think the TOB will reflect that. There won't be a lot of odds going on either side. It'll be a tight old tussle if they get there. Obviously, they've got a couple of games to get through this weekend, which will be tough enough as well.
And finally, I mean, we've known of each other and been talking for the best part of a couple of decades, mate. And I was so pleased when this announcement came through. And one of the crazy things I thought instantly about it was, it doesn't seem that long ago to me that you were the NPC coach. I was dealing with you. Razor was one of your assistants, and now he's off to coach the All Blacks, and you move into that Super Rugby role. Life's a beautiful snake, isn't it, mate? It rides, it turns, it curves. You don't know what the hell's going to happen and where you end up. And here you are, back coaching the Crusaders. Brilliant.
Yeah, look, it is. It's that's a great description. Like, and I'll reflect back on the conversations we used to have back in the day, and your challenges and tribulations and where you've got to, and you've come out the other side of that fantastically well and doing your job beautifully for now a wonderful organisation and the platform. I listen to it regularly and enjoy the commentary and the political debate as well. And yes, the trials and tribulations of life, they're set there for us to overcome, aren't they? It's not all easy. Life's not meant to be. It'd be great if it was all an easy ride, but it's not. But the trials make us who we are, and we reflect back on those with I guess joy that we've been able to overcome, but also learning that we know other people too with challenges can overcome them, and together we can make this society a better one. And from a very I guess open-ended positive question, I've got a bit philosophical about it, but it's the snake and the winding turns that life throw at us. They're there for a reason, and resilience is a big part of what we have to have in our makeup. And we help those with a little bit less resilience, and the ones with more resilience, try to lead the way. And anyway, back doing the Crusaders, wonderful, can't wait.